Welcome to my Minimal FX3 Rig. For some of you may not think this is minimal, but honestly, I think it's fairly minimal and something you can set up pretty quick when you show up on set. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this was I was noticing when I first got it, this tends to get pretty front heavy, depending on the lens that you're using, but also using the audio handle. Now, if you don't use the audio handle very often, may not be as big of a deal, but the other big reason is, you know, that these little battery guys, these little Sony batteries, man, they are just not, they don't hold a lot of juice. Not a big squeeze there on that juice. And so I wanted something with more juice and something that I could also power more things with, like my monitor, which is this is the Ninja Atomos. There's other monitors that I think are amazing. I'm not necessarily recommending just this one, but I wanted to be able to power an entire system off of one battery, and so that is using a V-mount battery. This one is the SmallRig VB99, and this one has enough juice to be able to power this entire camera, the Atomos Ninja, for how long, Tyler? How long did we say?
6 hours.
About 6 hours. Now, if you're using it consistently during that time, I think it's only gonna last maybe 3 to 4 hours, 3.5 hours, which is pretty good. I mean, to run the camera and run your monitor, that's pretty awesome. And the other benefit of having the V-mount on the back is that now it's creating a little bit better equilibrium here. So now we're adding weight to the back and this is a little bit more balanced. And when you get a little bit heavier of a rig, I used to use film with the C200 and the Canon C70, and especially the Canon C200 was a pretty hefty camera. And when you use a camera like that, you'll notice that your handheld shots look a lot cleaner. Even when you're walking with a larger rig, your handheld shots are just a lot smoother and just feel way better because of that weight. And so that's a big thing for me, is coming from having used that camera to such a little camera. And I was excited about having a little camera, so I'm not hating on the FX3 for being small. But being able to rig it out a little bit more and get some more weight, get some more heft there, that's really useful because then it really stabilizes those handheld shots a lot more and it makes those shots look way better. So that was, again, another reason why I wanted to do it. So we're adding more weight to the back, we're powering everything with one battery, we're not having to keep up with all these guys and charging them consistently and constantly and all that, you know, stuff. You're using one battery. And then, again, swap maybe 2 of these in an entire day and call it good. So what I've got here is the Condor Blue USB-C running from that into the camera, keeping it powered. And then I've got a D-tap to a dummy battery into the back of the Ninja Atomos. And you can also add in a few other additional sources for power from this V-mount as well, but those are the only 2 that I'm currently running here. Now, a few adjustments to make the top handle a little bit more effective and useful for you. One, I have a little bit bigger hands. I'm a 6'6" dude, so my hands are a little bit bigger. And this top handle just was pretty small for my hand. So you want to get the SmallRig extension plate that goes on top and just screws right in. That's going to give you about an additional inch or so here. And it's also going to give you a little bit more ergonomic handle and form factor there, which feels really, really nice. And it's going to give you more places to mount, which is really nice when you're mounting various pieces of gear that need to go on here. Now, there's also an additional extension from SmallRig that goes from that part up to the top, so that then I can now mount to the monitor on top of the audio recorder box. And being able to do that frees me up more space in the actual handle. So again, this is giving me more space for my hand versus crowding all of this and barely having a little spot to put my hand. This is keeping things less cluttered. Another little piece here that I got, and I'm still kind of figuring out the best use for that, is, again, another little SmallRig piece. And you can actually connect your cords through there if you want to tidy up. If you want to tidy up some of your cords. Obviously, you can't have the braided ones or the corded ones. What is it called? Braided? What are these? It's coiled. Coiled, you're not gonna be able to put the coiled ones in here, but if you just have straight cords like this one, these little guys will help tidy and pull things together a little bit more rather than kind of just having cords running everywhere. All right, so for my cage here, to be able to mount everything to this, I'm using a Tilta cage specifically for the FX3, and I like this Tilta cage because it is fairly minimal, but again, it's giving you all the mounting points that you want. It's got the Arca Swiss on the bottom so that you can easily slide this onto this attachment for the V-mount. So this V-mount attachment is from SmallRig, but it just slides into that Arca Swiss connection there. Again, that Arca Swiss is really nice because it also slides into things like the DJI Ronin RS2, RS3. I have the RS3, so it slides in easily and you're not having to then add additional adapters to it. And so yeah, then you can slide this on here, and this is the V-mount holder adapter from SmallRig, and that allows you to attach the V-mount on the back, slide that onto the camera, mount it down, and then it also gives you a little bit of wiggle room in terms of if you want to put the battery closer to the body or if you want to pull the battery further away from the camera. And then you can pull your screen out to the side if that's useful for maybe like a cam op, or the client wants to kind of quickly look there, and then you have your monitor up on top. So yeah, Tilta cage specifically for the FX3, and then the SmallRig V-mount holder adapter that just slides onto the Arca Swiss. Now, it does give you some mounting points here at the bottom if you want to further expand this rig and make it not so minimal. So Tyler, how are we gonna make this not so minimal?
I don't know.
Cue up the rails. Hit me with the rails, dude. Hit me with the rails. So let's say you're using a manual lens. I like to use the SLR Magics. They're really nice, affordable cinema lenses. You can then take a rail system like this. This is the Tilta one. This is the one that I was actually using with my C70. But you can attach it onto here, because this has attachment and quarter, 30, quarter, whatever the threads are. Has the threads so that you can attach, yeah, so you can attach there, and then when you're running a manual lens, you can throw on something like a manual follow focus or an automatic follow focus system. So you can add that to the bottom to further build out this rig. Again, this starts to make it a little less minimal. This is a little bit more involved, but if you're using manual lenses, you know how nice it is to be able to have a little bit more quick control of pulling focus with something like this. There are some cages that include a rail attachment. I think Tilta or SmallRig used to have one that had just a singular rail that came out here and you could attach the follow focus. Although I think that for the FX3 has been discontinued because I haven't been able to find it. But there's a lot of these kinds out there. This one is specifically from Tilta, and it's also the Tilta follow focus system that goes on there as well. But if you don't want to go too crazy, stick with something like this. And quite honestly, this doesn't take me that much time to set this up when I'm out in the field. And when it doesn't take that much time, it allows me just way more runtime, more weight. I'm getting cleaner handheld shots. I'm able to use all of my gear without worrying about the different batteries and whether they're charged, whether I'm running out of juice while I'm on set. It just clears up a lot of the things that we typically worry about. And I just don't want to worry about those things anymore when I'm on set. And then lastly, you may have noticed right here, I'm running the Sennheiser MK, one second. All right, one of my complaints too with the top handle, the Sony's top handle, is this thing does not fit like hardly any boom mic or shotgun mic. Yeah, this is the Sennheiser MKH8060 water resistant mic that's really great for run and gun, documentary style. This is an incredible, amazing, fantastic microphone. It was the microphone that I've wanted for a very, very, very long time, and it was definitely a hefty investment at like $1,600, but it is incredible, absolutely incredible. All right, so if you're wanting to pick up the individual pieces or wanting to know what the individual pieces were of this rig, I'll have them in the description below so you can find those. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments and I'll try to answer those for you. Again, I hope this is useful. It's not a crazy rig. I wanted to keep it effective and fairly minimal without having to overcomplicate and overthink a lot of things. So if you're into that too, this is probably the rig for you. All right, guys, see ya.